Hello, welcome if it's your first time here, welcome back if you've been here before. This is chapter 10 of my puzzle story. In today's video, I'll be talking about when I did a 24-hour solo puzzle marathon. While the previous videos focused on competing with other speed puzzlers, this is more about a challenge I set for myself, which was to see how many puzzles I could complete in a 24-hour period. This took place on International Puzzle Day, which was on Wednesday, January 29th, 2025. In the days leading up to International Puzzle Day, I was trying to figure out something I could do that would be special. Initially, I thought I would try to complete a 4,000 or 5,000 piece puzzle, one of the larger ones, but I had never done a puzzle that size before. I wasn't fully confident I'd be able to finish within 24 hours, and I also didn't have the space to record and keep track of a puzzle that size. I then considered doing as many 1,000-piece puzzles as I could within that time period. I figured if I could finish each puzzle within 3 hours, that would do 8 puzzles in 24 hours. I decided against it because 8 is such an odd number to end the day, even number, but odd number to end the day on. Closer to 10. 10 would be nicer, but I didn't think I had enough 1,000-piece puzzles that would be easy enough. I could finish one every 2.5 hours. Also taking into consideration the further on in the 24 hours I would get, the slower I would probably start to become. And then finally I considered doing as many 500-piece puzzles as I could within 24 hours. I had seen other people attempt similar approaches, where it was either 8 hours or 12 hours. I'd not seen an individual 24-hour one, so I figured maybe I'll try this and see how it goes. I figured on average I could finish a 500-piece puzzle in around 60 to 70 minutes. Some will be faster, some will be longer. But if I could stay on about that pace for 24 hours, taking into consideration I'll slow down probably near the end, I might be able to get in 20 puzzles in that time period. So that's the plan I went with. This would obviously help with practicing for the upcoming competitions I was going to be a part of, and that's always in the back of my mind regardless of what puzzle activity I'm doing. This would require some planning though to be able to pull it off. The first thing was to set my goal, and I went with 20 puzzles over 24 hours. It would be tough, but it did seem achievable. I would be close. I might get 19, I could get maybe as high as 21, but 20 seemed like it was doable. It was a good goal to set. Second would be to choose which 20 puzzles I would attempt to complete and what order they might appear in. I had an order set, but I would end up highly deviating from that plan. Once I had my 20 puzzles, it came to a total of 8 different brands. Ravensburger was obviously the main one, along with Buffalo Games, Crocodile Creek, The Occurrence, Treffle, Rose Art, and Cobble Hill, and TCG Toys. So there was going to be a wide range of puzzles to complete with different challenges along the way. Some of these puzzles would be first attempts, while others had been ones I had done once or twice or a few times before that. This was a good way to keep myself challenged when the new puzzles would show up, but also be able to maintain some sort of pace or try to get ahead of the pace with puzzles I had already done. There was also some preparation to take into consideration as well. If I was going to do this over the course of 24 hours, there wouldn't be much time for anything else. I would have to make sure I was well rested, obviously. I had to prepare food in advance and make sure the area I would be puzzling in would be as comfortable as possible. I decided beforehand that breaks would be as minimal as possible. I would be recording each of the puzzles, so setting up the camera in between each puzzle, that would essentially be most of my break. Removing the old puzzle, of the completed puzzle, that would also go into the break time as well, but I was going to be trying to keep it to 5 minutes or less in between each puzzle. Time was definitely going to play a factor if I wanted to get through a full 20. I wasn't going to be breaking down any of the puzzles in between, just moving them off to the side, in case I want to take a photo with all the completed puzzles at the end. So having to do up to 20 puzzle pickups was going to add a secondary challenge to the day. Hopefully none of them would break as I was moving them from the table to where I was storing the 20 puzzles. After every 4 or 5 puzzles, I decided that's when I would do some social media updates, check messages, reply to anybody that had been messaging me during the day. And so I'd have a slightly longer break, but that would be once every 4 to 5 hours. That would also give me a chance to have a proper snack or some food at that time as well. For food, I had prepared a bunch of sandwiches. I had fruit ready to go, so bananas. I had pre-peeled oranges in advance so nothing would get on my hands. Devined all the grapes that I would need. Also, try to avoid junk food type of things, but I did have a large box of Tim Hortons Timbits ready to go, as that's a very easy, quick little sugar energy boost that I would probably need over the course of this. But pretty much focused heavily on natural and some unnatural carbs just to maintain energy throughout 24 hours. For fluids, only water all day, easy. Preparing the food in advance, one would save time on the day, but it would also avoid any trips into the kitchen, as there would probably be some sort of distraction. I didn't want to rely on food deliveries during this time because it would be hard to decide when I would order food to get delivered, and if I had to wait, would that impact my puzzle time? And you don't want your food to get cold either. And it also avoids having to think about what to eat, and I wanted as much brain power as possible going towards the puzzling. Being well rested was going to be the toughest part. The plan was to start the 24 hours at midnight on January 29th and go until midnight of January 30th, or as close to that time as possible. For instance, if I finished a puzzle with, say, 20 minutes or 15 minutes to go before midnight, I'm not going to start a new one. I wasn't looking at total pieces completed that day, it was total puzzles, and with only total 500 piece puzzles. And if I only had 20 minutes, I'm not getting through a 500 piece puzzle in that time. The issue I also had with rest is that I had to work on the Tuesday beforehand up until close to 10 p.m. is when work ended for that day, leaving only 2 hours before the marathon would start. So work plus getting ready for work and getting home and everything else meant I would be up for about 10 to 12 hours before the marathon even started, which at the end of this would be a 36 total hours being awake. That could potentially play a big factor in this. For some reason, I was nervous as the time got closer to midnight. I don't know why. Nobody else was really involved with this. But it was a challenge for myself, and having that goal of 20 puzzles is probably what's going to help me stay focused throughout the day. And there was other ways I'd be able to keep up the energy for the 24 hours. The main way I get things done is if I'm held accountable by other people. So I was planning on posting frequently on my Instagram page. I did post in advance that I would be doing this. People were aware of it happening. People had already reached out to me to say that they were interested to see how I did and make sure to keep the updates coming. So if I stop partway through the 24 hours, that's not going to look good on me. So I would have to keep going for the full time. I'm approaching 12 a.m. My setup is ready. The cameras are set up. I have a large screen for the overall 24-hour countdown timer. I have a smaller timer to keep track of each individual puzzle. All the puzzles I'm going to attempt to complete are on the table as well. The 20 that are planned. If I get through all of them, great. If I get through more, that'd be impressive. But having those 20 puzzles continually on the table would also maintain as a reminder of what I've finished and what I still have left to do. To get through 20 puzzles, I would have to finish one puzzle on average every 72 minutes. But this didn't take into consideration short breaks, food, transitions between the puzzles, so it's definitely less than 72 minutes. I did have a combination of challenging puzzles and some easier puzzles, so like I said, some will be under an hour, some will definitely be over an hour. Hopefully the average comes out to less than 72 minutes per puzzle. When the clock hit midnight, I start with puzzle number 1. It is a Ravensburger puzzle called Hello Vinyl. This was the puzzle from the 2024 Canadian Nationals final. I had done this puzzle a few times before. I wanted to start off with something I knew would take less than an hour, that I'm familiar with, that would be easy, a good way to kick off the 24 hours, get ahead of schedule as early as possible. And it worked. 48 minutes and 45 seconds later, I was done puzzle 1, off to a great start. I probably could have gone faster. My fastest for this puzzle is close to 30 minutes. But finishing with 48 minutes still puts me 24 minutes ahead of schedule, so off to a good start. Next was Colorful Diamonds by Buffalo Games. It's another puzzle that I had done before. It's a nice gradient that requires very minimal thought to get through. Again, I want to start off with easier puzzles to get in the puzzle mindset and to kind of store up a lot of extra time near the beginning when I had more energy, because as I got to hour 20, 21, 22, I'm going to start to slow down. I'm just going to be exhausted by that point, so if I can get a lot of time out of the way at the start, the better. This puzzle went pretty well. I finished with a time of 39 minutes and 59 seconds, so barely, but I have my first sub 40 of the day. Which is great, and I am now 55 minutes ahead of schedule, so again, off to a very good start. Puzzle 3 was London Postcard, another puzzle that I had done before. Again, starting off with a few puzzles at the beginning that I've done before made sense to me. I had done this one close to 40 minutes in the past. I knew I wasn't going to be as fast today. Once I got to puzzle 3, it really set in that this is going to be a marathon. The puzzles aren't meant to be a sprint. There's speed associated with it. But if I'm going all out for every puzzle, I will burn out much quicker. So I had to take my time a little bit, remind myself that, again, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Even when I finish this puzzle, I'll still have at least 21 hours to go. But I do finish the time of 47:08, which is a good steady pace. I am now over 80 minutes ahead of schedule. So I have some time banked, which once the more challenging puzzles show up, we'll probably start to eat away at that. So it's good to get these faster puzzles out of the way early. I don't want every puzzle to be easy, so for puzzle 4, I do Vivid Vinyl by Buffalo Games. It looks easy enough, but it's deceptive. It is a lot of circles, and there's a lot going on with this. My fastest time for this originally was 90 minutes, so that's definitely slower than the 72 minutes that I need. If I'm close to 90 or I can get it down to 80, fantastic. I don't. I get an hour and 37 minutes and a few seconds on it, which means I've lost some of the time that I have banked, and that's probably going to happen a few times over the next 20 hours. I had to remind myself that also at this time I have been up for 15 hours. I didn't just wake up a few hours before when the marathon started, so being tired is going to play a factor probably earlier than I planned. Because that time wasn't great, I decided to take a bit of a break after the 4-hour mark, get some food, rehydrate, do some social media stuff, and just kind of reset my mind, remind myself that I'm going to have slower puzzles. That's okay. As long as I can overall stay ahead of schedule, we should be good. Then back at it with puzzle 5, which was Galloping White Horses by Treffel. I've done this one before, and I like it. There's some challenging aspects with the water and the horses and the sky to a smaller degree, but it's a nice peaceful puzzle, and with a time of just over 1:08, I've gotten some of the time back that I lost on the previous puzzle. Puzzle 6 is my first puzzle of the marathon that I had not done before. It is called Dutch Bulbs by Canadian brand The Occurrence. It's also my first large piece puzzle of the day, which are not my favorite. They tend to go a bit slower, and with a time of just over 1 hour and 22 minutes, I've immediately lost all the time I banked from the galloping white horses, but it balances itself out to close to staying on track. We're okay. Puzzle 7 is another repeat and my most challenging puzzle, I would say, so far of the day. It is Cubby Cats and Succulents, which is not my favorite type of puzzle. But I did do it a few weeks beforehand, so I'm somewhat familiar with what the puzzle is. However, for some reason on this day, my brain kind of froze during this puzzle. It might have been a moment of just, I was tired and I just kind of slowed down, but I was 27 minutes slower than my previous attempt, so not thrilled at that. And I finished with a time of 1:17:05, behind schedule again. Less than ideal, but good thing I have a fair bit of time banked from the earlier puzzles. Puzzle 8 is another new one for me called Dino World by Crocodile Creek Toys. It's another large piece puzzle, but it's a colorful design. A lot of small little projects on it, which is usually the type of puzzle that's in my wheelhouse. So I thought I would be able to make up some time with this, but I could feel myself getting a bit tired through it. I didn't plan a proper strategy. I was a bit all over the place looking back at the video, so not ideal. I finished with a time of 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 55 seconds, which is technically on pace-ish, but I really thought I would make up some time with that puzzle, so that was a bit discouraging. After a brief break, it had been 4 puzzles, and I knew I needed to reset, a bit more food, rehydrate a little bit. Earlier in the video, I did mention I had a planned order, but after the disappointment from the Dino World puzzle, this is when I started changing up the order. So I looked for an easier puzzle within the pile, and I went with Life is a Garden. This is the finals puzzle from the 2023 Canadian Nationals, so I have done this puzzle before. It doesn't require too much thought to go into it, and I know the puzzle fairly well, so we can get through this, get some time back, boost my motivation and confidence level if I can get to these 20 puzzles or not. And with a time of just over 48 minutes, I'm back on track. Here we go, on to puzzle 10. But with puzzle 10, I immediately throw away some of that time that I banked. It is called Juicy Puzzles by Buffalo Games. It's a trickier gradient than the one that I did earlier. My previous best time on this was 75 minutes. I thought I would be able to do a little bit better with that. I don't, and I finished with a time of 1:23, so 10 minutes behind, 11 minutes behind schedule. But that's puzzle 10. I am halfway through my goal. So let's do a quick recap. I'm going to read off some of the stats at this point because we're at the halfway point. My goal is 20 puzzles in 24 hours. So how close am I to accomplishing that? I am 10 puzzles in. I've been puzzling for a total of 11 hours, 2 minutes, and 33 seconds. So about an hour under the halfway point of the 24 hours. So that's good. Combine that with a few short breaks, though, and puzzle transitions and Instagram posting. I have used up 11 hours, 39 minutes, and 16 seconds. So really, I'm only 20 minutes ahead of schedule. So at 12 hours, 20 minutes, and 44 seconds remaining, I do not have a lot of room for error going into the back half of these puzzles. And I know that I'm going to get more and more tired as we work our way through. So if I'm going to hit that 20 puzzle mark, not quite sure. It's also important to remember that it's not just the mental activity that's going. We need to think about all these puzzles. Hands are going to start to hurt as well during this, just using them that much for that period of time, as well as my back. Lower back is definitely starting to hurt a little bit. You're hunched over no matter how good you want the posture to be. Standing doesn't help with it. So there's the physical toll that is going to take place as this moves on into the back half. On to puzzle 11, called Imagination in Motion by Rose Art Puzzles. This is a personal favorite of mine. I just really like the design. I wish it was put into a competition. onto like a ravensburger because the pieces are a bit easier to deal with. But I just really like this puzzle. It was a good way to kind of start the second half of the marathon. My previous attempt about 8 months earlier was around 105, so if I can get close to that, it doesn't need to beat that time, but if it's within a couple minutes, I'll be happy. And I finished at 108.05, which is under the 72 minutes. I'm fine with that. We can move on. Great. Puzzle number 12, and we were back at a previous competition puzzle that I had done at the 2023 Canadian Nationals qualifying, and that is Cat That Got the Cream by Ravensburger. It has a fair bit of fur in it, which does add a challenge. My first attempt ever was 59 minutes. I got that time down to 53 minutes with some practice months before. But somehow with a time of 52.05, even surprising myself, setting a personal best for this puzzle at the time, feeling very, very good about that. Possibly a second wind or third wind. I've lost count at this point, but definitely some time banked here. Great. Puzzle 13 was just a random selection off the shelf. It's called Farm Picnic by Rosart. It's not my favorite puzzle, not my least favorite puzzle, just a random one. It has bright enough colors to keep me interested and focused, which is great. A time of 104.43 works just fine for me. It's ahead of pace. Great. It's slightly slower than my personal best. That's fine at this point. But I am now 15 hours into the marathon. I have 9 hours to go, and that does not really appeal to me at this point. Puzzle 14, I go back to a classic, which is Floral Reflections by Ravensburger. I've done this puzzle a number of times beforehand. There's some tricky colors in here. I think it was also the first or second puzzle I ever sped run through as a Ravensburger. So I am familiar with it. If I can get a good time, I'm happy with that. My most recent attempt was around 58 minutes, which would be great at this point. Somehow again, I do beat that and I finished with 57 minutes, so more time banked. I have just beat a previous time, feeling good about that. With almost 8 hours left in the marathon, I have 6 puzzles left to go to get to the 20. It's looking like I could do it, but I know there's some challenging puzzles still left in the pile. Puzzle number 15 is another puzzle that I like. It's called I Love Coffee and Donuts 2, as in the number 2, which indicates that there's a I Love Coffee and Donuts Part 1. I've never seen it, but I'm assuming it's out there. There's something about donut-themed puzzles that I like. I don't know if it's the colors that stand out on the donuts, the symmetry of the donut, I don't know. But I do like donut puzzles. I've done a few of them. I finished this one just over an hour, which is okay. And I have around 7 hours left. Puzzle 16 was always going to be the toughest one for me. It is Golden Solar System by Ravensburger. I didn't know the best time to put this into the pile. Too early, it's going to slow me down and use up a lot of brain energy at the start. Too late in the day, I'm not going to have enough energy to get through it. Was 16 too long to wait? I don't know. My goal for this one, and kind of one that I had for the entire marathon, was not to have any puzzle go over 90 minutes. And this is the one that was going to test that the most. I had never done this puzzle solo before. I had done it with a partner, so I kind of knew a little bit about the puzzle, but a little bit into starting this one, I knew I had probably waited a bit too late in the marathon to do this one. This is around the time my brain was starting to shut down a little bit. I had been awake for over 24 hours. I had finished 15 puzzles. While I was having fruits and other food, it's not great nourishment over this time period. It can only give you so much energy. I'd also gone to work the day before. I was just exhausted. I pushed my way through and try to remember some of the aspects of this puzzle that I did when I was working with a partner. I don't know how, but I do manage to finish this puzzle with a time of 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 58 seconds, just under the 90-minute mark. Definitely lost time that I had banked from the other puzzles, and this one took a mental and physical toll for sure. I'm 4 puzzles away with just under 5 hours to go to try to hit my goal of 20 puzzles. Of the 4 puzzles I have left, 2 of them I've never done before and 2 of them I have, so this could go either way. Puzzle 17 was my biggest disappointment of the day. It was a National Park Bucket List by Cobble Hill. I like the design of the puzzle. It looks like it was going to be very fun, but I had forgotten that Cobble Hill pieces are large size, and because I haven't done a Cobble Hill for a while, they're also random cut. And random cut plus a large size is a recipe for a very long puzzle. So initially my goal was trying to be under an hour for this. We're at puzzle 17. Obviously I'm tired and I'm not going to get under an hour on this puzzle. So now it's going to be about damage control. So while I do still like this puzzle, the final time was just over an hour and 13 minutes. Not great. Over 70 minutes is a bad result. It does still keep me somewhat on track to finish on time, but it doesn't give me as much of a cushion as I might have wanted. So I have 3 puzzles left and about 4 hours to go. That works out to about 80 minutes per puzzle, which sounds like a lot of time, but exhaustion has set in. I've been awake for 32 hours at this point. The remaining 3 puzzles, and including the one before, the Cobble Hill one, I have no actual memory of completing them. I only know they happened because of the videos that I took. So my experiences are based purely on what I see in the video. Puzzle 18 goes poorly as well. It's called Family Picnic by Buffalo Games. I had done this one before, I think I have, and I thought I would be able to do better at it. But with a time of 1 hour and 22 minutes, that's slower than the 80-minute time limit I had, so I need to kind of catch up, hopefully, with the next puzzle. I have just over 2.5 hours left to complete 2 puzzles. One is new and one is a repeat. I don't know how this is going to go. I decide to save the new one for last. Hopefully I can get as much time banked as possible from the one that I had done before. However, I forgot an important piece of information to myself when putting this puzzle this close to the end. The repeat puzzle, so puzzle 19, is called Two of a Kind by Ravensburger. This is from the 2024 Canadian Nationals qualifying round. And if you've watched chapter 3 of my puzzle story, where I talk about doing this puzzle for the first time, you will see that this was a chaotic disaster for me. I was so disorganized. I didn't have a plan that I stuck to at that competition. And for some reason, for the marathon, I followed the exact same method of doing absolutely nothing that could be even resemble being organized. Looking back at this video, you can see I'm kind of all over the place right from the beginning. I'm not finishing a border. I'm jumping from section to section. This is not looking good. This definitely should have gone a lot earlier in the day. But with a time of 1 hour, 1 minute, and 10 seconds, I don't know how, but I finished with that time. I now have 95 minutes left to finish one final puzzle. There's no way I'm getting through 2 puzzles, so getting over 20 puzzles is off the out of possibility. But finishing with 20 is still realistic. It is a puzzle I had not done before, so I don't know how it's going to end. With the final, now it turns from a marathon into a sprint at this point. I do take a bit of a break, have some food. I'm trying to fall asleep. We are now 35 hours I've been awake. And I just need to get ready, remind myself this is potentially the last puzzle that I can get through. And by the time the break is done, I have 90 minutes and 30 seconds left to finish one final puzzle. The final puzzle is called Maritime Flair by Ravensburger. It was used as a team finals puzzle in the 2023 Canadian Nationals. But since then, it has been used as an individual finals puzzle in New Zealand, Colombia, and Portugal. So I don't know how this is going to go. Unfortunately, this puzzle does require attention to detail, the small details, for it to be able to go quickly. My brain is fuzzy, eyes are blurry, hands and back are hurting, and I just want to go to sleep at this point. I'm doubting if I'm going to be able to finish in time. When I hit the 1 hour mark, I can see that I've made progress on the puzzle. With 30 minutes left to go, there's a possibility I can finish this, but the remaining pieces I'm not done for the puzzle are the toughest pieces to place, so hopefully I can get through all of them. I should be able to get through all of them, but with all the factors that have added up, time is against me at this point. I focus as much as I can in the last little bit. With 20 minutes to go, I still have about 50 pieces left. I glance at the clock. I have a bit of a surge of energy because I'm in the home stretch at this point. With 13 minutes left, I have about 30 pieces still to put in. They are all a border. It shouldn't take me 13 minutes to finish the border. And with a time of 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 27 sections, I do finish Maritime Flare, meaning I have 10 minutes and 58 seconds left on the 24-hour countdown. I finished it. I am done. Over the course of 24 hours, I completed my goal of 20 puzzles, 2,500 piece puzzles, which equates to 10,000 pieces completed within a 24-hour time period. In total, I puzzled for 22 hours, 34 minutes, and 41 seconds. My total break time for food and stretching, water, puzzle transitions, some social media posts was a total of 74 minutes and 21 seconds. Was this worth it? I have no idea. When I started, I didn't know if anyone was actually going to be paying attention. I knew some people reached out in advance to let me know that they'd be watching along and checking for my updates. But during my infrequent social media posts on my Instagram channel specifically, I was receiving a lot more messages from people of encouragement and such, more than I thought I was ever going to receive. If one person had reached out, I would have felt pretty good, but there was significantly more than one person, which was nice to see. So there was a lot of encouragement from people, and mainly from people that I had never actually spoken to before. So again, that was nice to see. Those messages definitely helped me push through the 24 hours. I might not have made it to the end if I didn't have that little bit of encouragement throughout. And because people were sending messages, in my mind, I was being held accountable, not just to myself, but to others as well. So again, motivation to make it to the end and show that it is possible to puzzle for 24 hours. Will I do this again? I don't know. Probably, but perhaps I incorporate some sort of charity aspect into it next time. I might do it with a partner or with a team. Have it as a 24-hour live stream, potentially. There's a lot of factors to take into consideration during this, but that is something for another day to consider. Not right now. If anyone is considering doing this, make sure to not book anything the next day. I slept for about 15 or 16 hours once this is done, and my back and hands hurt significantly for the next day or so. That is it for this video. Please click like if you enjoyed it, and make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all the other content on this channel. In the comments below, let me know if you've ever attempted a puzzle marathon, or for next year's World Jigsaw Puzzle Day, leave me a suggestion or recommendation on something I might consider doing for that day. With the World Championships starting in just under 4 weeks at the time this video is posted, my puzzle story and other content on this channel will deviate to focusing on that. Updates will still be as frequent as I can possibly make them, but myself and a lot of people in the speed puzzle world will be turning our focus to that competition. Make sure to check out the Speed Puzzling 101 tips and tricks videos, Speed Puzzling tips in under 10 minutes, where a new lesson is released every week. And as a reminder, you should watch episode 1 and episode 2 of Puzzled and Chatty, because episode 3 is being released later this week. So, until next time, as always, happy puzzling. Bye.